Have you ever wondered what would happen if you combined the drive forms of Kingdom Hearts 2 with the enemy cards of Kingdom Hearts 3 Chain of Memories and the processing power of an old Japanese flip phone? Well, wonder no more, because today we're taking an in-depth look at Kingdom Hearts Pair Card Battle, a Lost KH minigame that has a new surprise around every corner. Trust me when I say that you cannot predict the things that this game will do next, it's a real adventure. So without further ado, let's crack open this decade-old time capsule. Kingdom Hearts Pair Card Battle was the second minigame added to KH Mobile after its launch, and the fifth of 8 minigames overall. It released on February 26, 2009, just over a month after KH Spider Solitaire. I originally thought that Pair Card Battle was a completely original puzzle game, but when I started digging through the game files, I discovered that the internal name of the application is KH Nikakudori. It turns out that Nikakudori, literally translating to two corners taken, is an alternate name for the mahjong game Shishensho, literally translating to Sichuan Province, which is also known as Four Rivers or River. Nikakudori doesn't play anything like your standard mahjong solitaire, but it still involves removing pairs of matching tiles. I'd say that Pair Card Battle is a loose adaptation, since it does a lot to build on the original game concept. The goal of Pair Card Battle is to remove pairs of matching cards by connecting them. There's one basic rule: the lines connecting two cards can only bend twice. Legal moves include pairs that are touching each other, pairs that have a straight path between them, pairs that are along the same edge of the board, and anything else that takes 2 or fewer bends to connect. If a connecting line would have to bend 3 or more times to reach both cards, the pair cannot be removed. Once you have an understanding of what is and isn't a legal connection, you're almost ready to jump into free mode. There are 5 levels in free mode, each made of 5 stages, plus a separate challenge mode that we'll touch on later. But first, we need to familiarize ourselves with the UI. At the top left is the timer. If the time runs out, you lose the level. Simple enough. Next to the timer is the enemy count. This keeps track of how many cards you've matched, and you need to connect a certain number of pairs to move on to the next stage. In challenge mode, the enemy count is replaced by a score that would feed into KH Mobile's online rankings. We also have an HP bar. We start every level with 100 HP, and it doesn't refill between the 5 stages of the level. Naturally, you get a game over if the HP gauge reaches 0. Below that is a drive gauge, but we won't need to worry about that until later stages. Level 1 presents us with the first of 6 types of cards, enemy cards. Matching a pair of enemy cards increases your enemy count by 1, or increases your score in challenge mode. Successful matches will also increase your drive gauge by 1/15 of a bar. If you try to match an enemy card that doesn't have any valid connections, you will lose 20 HP. Fortunately, the first stage is designed for practice. It only has 3 types of enemy cards, shadows, soldiers, and large bodies, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find a valid match. Eliminating 10 pairs of enemy cards within 1 minute allows us to move on to stage 2 of level 1. Here we have 1 minute to eliminate 15 pairs of Prismatic Melody Heartless. This pattern continues for the remaining 3 stages of level 1, none of which should pose much of a challenge. Once you've successfully cleared the first level, you'll be rewarded with Wisdom Form. Drive forms can be activated at any time as long as you have enough bars filled in your drive gauge. Wisdom Form consumes 1 bar to activate the delete effect, which erases all cards of the selected type from the field. It's great for opening up new matches when you're stuck, but much like in KH2, Wisdom Form will be quickly outclassed by other drive forms. We can now head on to level 2. The first stage introduces a new type of card, Keyblade cards. Eliminating a Keyblade card gives you a full bar of your drive gauge, which is the equivalent of 15 enemy card matches. Keyblade cards can only spawn once every 30 seconds, and in all but 2 stages, only 1 pair of Keyblade cards can be on the field at a time. As we progress through level 2, our enemy target increases dramatically each stage, but the time limit also increases to compensate. In the 3rd stage, we see another new type of card, treasure chest cards. While in most Kingdom Hearts games, treasure chests are rewards for exploration or walking 2 feet to the left, Pair Card Battle treats treasure chests more like loot boxes. Matching a treasure chest gives 1 of 3 random effects, +1 to the drive gauge, +1 to 3 bonus money for use back in KH Mobile, or -20 HP. Yes, treasure chests can hurt you. I've even lost a few games to bad treasure chest luck, but I will still always take the gamble. However, if you don't match a treasure chest card quickly enough, it will disappear from the field. Stage 4 of level 2 introduces yet another new card, potion cards. Matching a pair of potion cards restores 30 HP, but they can take anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute to spawn in. For all 3 of these card abilities, Keyblades, treasure chests, and potions, you will not be penalized if you try to make a match when there are no valid connections. In addition, none of these card effects will be activated if you remove the card using a drive form power. By the time we've reached the middle of level 2, we've seen every unique enemy card in the game. Every Heartless from Kingdom Hearts Re Chain of Memories makes an appearance in one stage or another. Generally speaking, the more different types of enemy cards are in a stage, the harder it is to find a match. So on something like the 4th stage of level 2, which features 26 out of 31 Heartless species, it can be helpful to activate Wisdom Form and... Yes, you saw that right. Just like in KH2, you have a random chance to activate Anti-Form anytime you try to enter another drive form. It consumes 1 bar of the drive gauge and offers the Hint effect, which reveals valid matches for a limited time. And this is so cool. The Hint power is actually pretty useful, and it can help you clear a lot of enemies pretty quickly. However, if you're stuck in a situation with no possible matches and try to use a drive form to fix it, then Anti-Form will just waste your drive gauge. This is brilliant since it captures that careful balance of powerful ability and punishment for overusing the form system that Anti-Form had in KH2. I don't know what I was expecting from this game, but it certainly wasn't a faithful recreation of the drive form system. It's time to finish out level 2, but the 5th stage presents us with a new obstacle, Organization 13 cards. These cards will warp to another spot after connecting them, only being removed after 5 successful matches. Even so, they only add 1 to the enemy count, but they give a lot of points in challenge mode. However, if you try to match an Organization 13 card that doesn't have any valid connections, you will lose 40 HP, double that of a normal enemy card. Organization 13 cards feature the face of every organization member except for Roxas, and Shion. Conquering the 3rd level will reward us with Valor Form, but since this game was exclusive to Japan, it's called Brave Form. Brave Form consumes 2 bars of the drive gauge in exchange for the Bomb effect. Bomb clears out the selected card, the 8 cards surrounding it, and 1 matching pair for each lone card destroyed. In terms of card cleared, Brave Form is a lot more efficient than Wisdom Form, so that makes the latter highly situational. You just have to be careful not to catch any Keyblades or potions in the blast radius. As we move on to level 3, we are presented with the final new type of card, Teeming Darkness, an adaptation of the map card from Chain of Memories. Teeming Darkness cards cannot be removed by ordinary matches and can only be disposed of with drive form abilities. These can be pretty annoying, especially in level 3, where they respawn in 5 seconds after you clear them out. The card returns in certain stages in levels 4 and 5, but with a more reasonable 30 or 15 second grace period. We can continue through level 3 by clearing 30, 40, 50, and 60 pairs of enemies to reach the level's final stage. This is one of 2 stages where all 31 types of enemy cards can be spawned, the other being the last stage of level 4. You have to be on top of making matches as the cards spawn in, but with the help of drive forms, level 3 should only present a moderate challenge. Completing the 3rd level rewards us with the final drive form, Master Form. Its special ability is Cross, which consumes 3 bars of the drive gauge. Activating Cross clears an entire row and column of cards, plus 1 matching card for any lone cards deleted. I will almost always save up for Master Form when I have the chance, but there's still a reason to use Brave Form in stages where filling up the drive gauge is a bit more of a challenge. With all 4 drive forms in hand, we can march on to level 4. This is where the difficulty starts to ramp up. All 5 stages are a test of speed, with new cards spawning every 3 to 4 seconds, compared to the 8 to 10 seconds of previous stages. The 5th stage asks you to clear 110 pairs of enemy cards in only 3 minutes. It's easy to get overwhelmed and end up in a deadlock, so you need to get good at recognizing the patterns quickly and matching cards as soon as they appear. There's no reward for clearing level 4 other than getting access to level 5, the final challenge. On the first 2 stages, a large number of cards will appear at the start, but it will take an entire 20 seconds for more enemy cards to spawn in. If you can navigate your way through the wall of cards, clearing the board will trigger a new wave to appear right away. The 3rd and 4th stages add in Teeming Darkness cards, and you'll need to be quick to reach the enemy card quota. Finally, it's time to face the conclusion of level 5. It's an odd stage. Just a small handful of enemy cards appear at a time, and you only need to clear 50 pairs to win. However, a pair of Organization 13 cards will appear every 5 seconds, and all 12 members can be on the board at once. You have to clear as many cards as possible before the organization clogs up the playing field, and since this is the only stage since level 1 that doesn't have any Keyblade cards, you have to ration out your drive form usage. To be honest, I don't think this stage was as challenging as the finale to level 4, but the creative design certainly stands out. It feels like the whole organization is pulling up just to stop you, personally, from finishing the game. Congratulations! We've conquered the 5 levels of free mode, so let's take a quick look at challenge mode. Instead of reaching an enemy card target, the goal is to score as many points as possible within 5 minutes. If you quickly clear enemy cards without making a mistake, you will form a combo which awards more points. If you want to get a good score, you're going to need to make liberal use of Brave Form and Pair Card Battle does it again. Just like KH2, you have a random chance of entering Final Form when trying to activate another drive form after reaching a certain point in the game. Once you encounter it, it will be permanently added to the drive menu. I can't believe how much effort they put into recreating the KH2 drive mechanics, but it certainly left an impression. Now that we have Final Form, we can spend all 4 bars of our drive gauge to activate All Delete, which wipes the entire screen. It's very satisfying, and even though I'll usually still go for Master Form during a game, it's a welcome addition to our arsenal. Let's take a break from the gameplay to talk a bit about the art of Pair Card Battle. All of the cards use the renders from Kingdom Hearts Re: Chain of Memories, compressed to fit in an 18x24 pixel icon. Likewise, all of the drive form images are just the standard KH2 renders. The background image of Hollow Bastion is taken from KH2 artwork, though I like the additional menu elements that incorporate Hollow Bastion world design. And that about covers it for the artwork, not really any surprises there. The same cannot be said for the music. The main menu uses Dive to the Heart Vistati, but the start point is set right before the transition into the battle section, rather than the normal start of the track. On top of that, the song doesn't loop correctly. Most KH mobile tracks have been pretty good about setting up loop points, even if they differ from the original recording, but not in this case. The first music track for gameplay stages is Hollow Bastion, which fits with the whole aesthetic of the game. Pair Card Battle takes a page out of KH Balloon Glider's book and alternates the song every level. Hollow Bastion is used for levels 1, 3, and 5. Levels 2 and 4 use 2 Hour Surprise, the battle theme of Wonderland, which is a strange pick. I would have expected something more in line with the Hollow Bastion theme, or something from Re: Chain of Memories to play into the card game aspect. In an even stranger twist, the challenge mode stages use Shrouding Dark Cloud, a generic Heartless boss theme from KH1. Given how everything else from this game is derived from KH2 and Recom, this is completely out of place. When I was reviewing my notes from my first impression of the game, I noticed that I had written down the wrong track for challenge mode. My original notes identified the song as The 13th Struggle. That was strange to me since, to be honest, I don't think I would have made such an obvious mistake. Then it just hit me. I knew what was going on. I went straight to my computer's clock settings, set the date to yesterday, and loaded up Pair Card Battle. Sure enough, there was the 13th Struggle, clear as day. See, for some baffling reason, the challenge mode stages rotates the background music every day. It starts with Hollow Bastion, like the odd levels, then moves on to the 13th Struggle, and finally Shrouding Dark Cloud before looping the pattern. Now that we've solved this pointless mystery, let's take a look at the 13th Struggle. This version is based on the Kingdom Hearts 2 arrangement, which can be recognized by the statement of another side near the end of the track. I mentioned that the music of Pair Card Battle seemed to be taking a page out of KH Balloon Glider's book, but this is true in more ways than one. There's another torn page, and written on it is Go For It, the battle theme to Olympus Coliseum. This seems to be a general placeholder track, since it appears in the files of both minigames but goes unused. Pair Card Battle has more than just an unused battle theme, however. Within the game's files, I found 18 unused cards, and with some clever manipulation of the data file, I was able to get them to spawn in the game. The first 2 cards are Roxas and Ansem Seeker of Darkness. It appears that they were meant to be additional Organization 13 cards. They were never fully implemented though. Connecting a pair immediately eliminates the cards without any reward. The next set of unused cards are based on map cards from Rechain of Memories. There's the Key of Beginnings, Key of Guidance, and Key to Truth, as well as Sleeping Darkness and the Moogle Rune. Again, none of these cards do anything when spawned in, so we can only speculate as to what their purpose would have been. Next up, the Gold card and Platinum card were also slated to make an appearance, as was the Gimmick card. I suspect matching these would have activated some kind of bonus or ability, like the Keyblade Potion and Treasure Chest cards. The final set of unused cards are weapons. Soul Eater, Oathkeeper, Oblivion, Bond of Flame, Lady Luck, Photon Debugger, Crabclaw, and Fairy Harp. All of these are taken from Recom, which is at this point expected. Interestingly, these cards seem to have been closer to completion, since matching them adds 1 to the drive gauge like the normal Kingdom Key card would. Well, except for Fairy Harp, that one still doesn't have any effect programmed in. In the end, I can only guess at what content was planned for Pair Card Battle that didn't make it into the final game. Given that these KH mobile applications were set to release every single month for the first season of service, it's easy to imagine that some things had to be cut to make the deadline. Still, I'm glad for what we did get, since Pair Card Battle really blew me away, both with its addicting gameplay and its shockingly faithful recreation of the Driveform system. This game was an absolute blast to explore, and it's a real shame that it was doomed to die with the rest of KH Mobile. There's no question that this application is one of the stars of the platform, and since I've committed to ranking all of these minigames, Pair Card Battle can take a seat in S tier. We'll keep going through these post-launch minigames in chronological order. Next time, we'll take a look at something a little less ambitious, but endlessly charming. I'll see you there.